Hello there. I was asked to help make a video that would show teachers how to post some of the Eureka Math practice activities or practice sets into Seesaw, and how to make sure that students would be able to add a response to that activity. So I'm logged in a teacher account in my Seesaw page, and I'm going to get ready to start an activity. So I want to click on Activities, and I'm going to create one from scratch. So I'm going to assign an activity that will open my activity library. And if I had a page, similar page already there, I would open it and make a copy and edit, but I'm going to have to start from scratch. I haven't made a Eureka Math one. So let me start by filling a few of these things in, and then I'll turn my camera back on and we'll talk about what I've done. Okay, I've worked on my directions a little bit. So I've typed my directions at the top, and then I've recorded the directions by clicking on the audio option to record directions. So that is saved. Now, some people are getting a little confused between the template that students would work on and the multimedia instruction or examples. This part is part of the directions, so it's not something students would work in. They would just view it or click on it to find out more about the lesson. So this is where I would click to add either a video that I make as a teacher showing the students what's expected, or I could do a search. So I went to YouTube and I searched for the video lesson for Kindergarten Module 1 Lesson 17 that was taught or placed, and this one happens to be made by Teaching Independent Learners. And I did view the entire video before I decided to use this one. So it's going to run through the lesson the same way that teachers would be running through the lesson in their class. That way, parents at home would have the option to find out a little bit more about how that lesson is taught in school. So this is going to be my multimedia example or instructions for the students. And below the video, I click on that arrow to share, and I copy the website address for this YouTube video. When I go back to my lesson that I've made, which is here, I'm going to click on Add Multimedia Instructions or an Example, and then I'm going to add a link. And this link is going to appear as part of the directions for the students or the families to click on just to see a little bit more about how this lesson works. I click OK. And that appears in the section for the multimedia lesson or examples. Now I'm ready to begin working on the student template. That's below the instructions section. And this is where I would put the copy of the student's workbook or worksheets, their practice sets. So what I've done is I have gone to Engage New York and I've done a search, and I want the material for Module 1, Lesson 17. This is the PDF that comes up. It gives me my directions about what I would do as the teacher, and I have to figure out which pages are the practice set pages. So in this PDF attached, this happens to be page 5. If I scroll up, it's telling me it's 5 out of 8. So I want the students to work on page 5 and page 6 and page 7. In order to get just those pages from this PDF, I'm going to click on this print option right here. And when I hit that, I'm going to save a PDF for just the pages 5 through 7. 5 through 7. And then I'm going to hit save, and it should give me the option to name it. So I'm going to put Eureka Math or whatever I want to put, Module 1, Lesson 17, and I'm going to put PS for practice set. So if I wanted to download the whole lesson, I could, but now I should have in my drive, in my on my computer, in my documents or my downloads, whichever place your print option saves to, I should be able to pull that up when I get back to my Seesaw lesson. So now I'm ready to add this template that the students are going to work in. And I'm actually going to upload a PDF. I'm not going to attach a link to that website. I don't want the students to go to the Eureka Math website. I want to upload a file, which is a PDF file from my computer. If I had saved it to Drive, I would click on Select from Google Drive, but mine is on my computer and it is in my documents. If I didn't find it in documents, I could check downloads. It just depends on where your computer has it set up to save work. So this is the entire directions for Module 1, Lesson 17, but this is the part that I saved that's just pages 5 through 7. So when I click on it, it should come up and it should show me the pages. So it's added 3 pages in the template for the students, page 1, page 2, and page 3. Now, if I wanted to, I could lock these in place. Actually, it looks like they're already locked in place. Let me check the move option and check on, it is locked. When they came in, they were locked in place automatically, so I don't have to worry about the students moving them. So now when the students work, of course, I just clicked a couple times and added some blue dots on there. When the students work, they would choose the tool they need to work on this page. If they need to zoom in to get closer to a section, they can zoom in and they can move that around. And if I click on zoom in some more, it's going to get even closer. And then I could see that page to work on, or I can click back out and it would be full size. Some teachers do like adding directions on the page, and some of you have been adding them down under captions, because under captions I can click and I can add a voice recording that tells the students what they need to do on this page. So I could just read the directions and it would show up in the captions. Draw one more. Then count the objects and write the number in the box. Use the code to color when you are finished. So here's the code. If there are 3 things, I'm going to color blue. If there are 4 things, I'm going to color red. If there are 5 things, I'm going to color yellow. And if there are 6 items, I'm going to color them green. I click done, and that directions is there for students to listen to. The only problem is that you'd have to teach your kids to click on the caption, and then they hit play, and it's going to repeat what I just read, and it's going to cover up part of the page. So some teachers have been doing something a little different about how they do their recordings. Now that we've had a few additional options added with the new features in Seesaw. I'm going to pause for a minute. I paused so that I could open a new window in Google and search for a sound icon. I'm going to add a sound icon to the last. The reason for that is in my Seesaw activity, if I add an extra page at the end, I can insert that image by doing an upload. And so I'm going to upload, and this one actually went to my downloads folder. So when it comes in, it's going to look like this. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and I have put it on the last page because with the new features in Seesaw, when I turn on a recording and I record this page, it's going to record the entire image on the page. That way I can record it, I can shrink down my directions, I'll have this sound image that they would click on to play. I'm actually going to make a recording of the page, not of me. So I clicked on the microphone and I'm going to click where it says start recording. So my recording is going to be on this page. It has filled up the entire page with a recording. It's not just the picture anymore. It's a recording because when I hit here, it will start to play. I can now catch that recording and I can make it smaller. And here it is. I'm going to make it even smaller. And I'm going to copy it, Command C, and I'm going to paste it next to Command V, next to the directions that I just read out loud. I'm going to lock it in place. So when they're on this page, they can click on my directions. In order to record without switching to the first page, I could use my phone to take a picture of the page so I can use my phone to read from. And then I would stay on this page to do the recording. Let me try that again. Draw one more, then count the objects and write the number in the box. Use the code to color when you are finished. If there are 3 items, color them blue. If there are 4 items, color them red. If there are 5 items, color them yellow. If there are 6 items, color them green. Now my recording is on this last page, and I can catch it and see the corner and make it smaller. Then I can copy it and put it next to my directions on the first slide. So if the students need to hear those directions, they would just click on this icon and it would start. It would look like this to the students, and they would just click here. And so those directions are on the page. A few other things I might want to type is I could type in some information that tells them which tools to use. If I want to be specific about which tools they're going to use to answer these questions, I can type in, I did a search for the Seesaw shortcut tools, and this came up. It's from the Seesaw Help Center. So when I click here, it opens this page, which is an article. And if I click on the icons, it pulls up a PDF. And this is something that I have saved in my drive on Google, so I can pull it up anytime I want to. And I just did a screenshot. On my computer, it's Command Shift and 5. Other people have Command Shift and 4. It depends on their operating system. I'm going to choose these 3 tools because that's the ones that I would like my students to use for this activity. And then I'm going to go back to my page and add the screenshot I just took. My screenshots go to my documents. And I can add those tools here and lock them in place. I probably want to lock the directions in place. And then it's telling the students what they should be using to answer these questions. Now on this page, they wouldn't really need a move, but the nice thing about it is that way I have the option of using any of those. So students would choose the tool. They're supposed to draw one more cloud, so they could use their pencil and draw the cloud. And then they're supposed to say how many there are. There are 3. And then they're supposed to choose a color. They're supposed to color them blue. So I probably want to switch to a pen and start to color them blue if I were a student answering the question. This is another thing that could be your multimedia example, is you could have Loom turned on and make a video of you actually doing the student's work. And that could be your example instead of the video that I posted. Now on this page, I don't really want the activity already done, so I'm going to erase my work. And I would continue through making directions for each page. The first recording is still showing up on my last page, so I would have to choose the Move tool to be able to move it, and then delete it to get it out of the way. The directions that I posted are still there on the first page. I would go back to my last page, and I have an image in front of me that I can use to read my directions from to record again. So I would hit the microphone, fill in the missing number on the cards, save that recording, and it comes up large. It's a recording of the whole page. So I would find the edge and once again make it smaller. And I would, while it's selected, Command C, go to my second page and paste it next to the part where those directions are read. Lock it in place. Return to the last slide, and here's my image. I have to choose to delete it so it won't show up when I do the next recording. So a couple of things that I'm thinking as I make this activity is that if I wanted to put small directions next to each of the parts of that first page, even though I've made them smaller, and I copy the and I copy that small image, when I put it into the page, it's going to start to cover some things up. Like I can't put it right here without covering something else up. If it were me, I wouldn't bring this whole PDF in as one image. That's a lot on a page for a little person. If I were making this assignment, I would actually start it a different way. So I'm going to pause and I'm going to get ready to show you how I would do that. Okay, what I've done now is I've gone back to my Eureka Math page, which is over here. And instead of sending students this entire page with basically 6 different activities, 6 different problems they have to answer, I'm going to use Command, Shift, and 5 on my computer to get this box where I can take screenshots of different parts of the page. All the activities have the same directions on this page, so I'm going to do the page of directions first, and then I'm going to do screenshots for each of the 6 problems. And that way I can put them on different pages in the activity. It's going to make it easier for the students to see, and it's also going to make it better for me to put those directions on it. So here's a blank page. I've got my tools directions over here, but then I also have the actual directions for the math activity. Here's that recording that I already made. And so my screenshots are all saved on in my documents. And this time when I pull it in, it's not the entire page, it's just that one question, which I can resize and make bigger for the little people to color in. I can also still lock it in place. And then I can go back to my original page where I made this recording. And if I can catch that recording, Command C would let me copy it and put it up here. And now my directions for that part are here pasted and locked in place, and they're not covering up any of the other words. I'm going to go ahead and build the rest of the pages for this activity, and then I will turn the record back on. Okay, I have all the pages made, and I have all the recordings on each page. So now what I would do is go and erase or get rid of this page that has the giant icon for a speaker. Now each page, each of the 11 pages has the activities or the one problem on it that each student needs to answer. That way I have room for multiple recordings of directions. The students have a bigger image to write on, and it makes it less cluttered. So the students can move through the activities or the questions, one on each slide. And then when they're ready, they can turn in their work. Each recording was made separately, so it matches the question in front of the students. And they can click back on it anytime they want, if they're forgetting or they've forgotten what to do. So now I upload that. The 11 pages that the students would work on is down here under Student Template. And the multimedia example is that website that I've linked to that the students would go to see the video itself of the lesson. To attach skills to a Seesaw activity, you have the activity open, and I'm going to scroll down below the part where we have a multimedia attachment, and below the student template, there's an activity there, or a section that says more options. So I click on that and it opens. I can type in some notes. This is one place where some teachers have been including information for other teachers they share it with, also including links maybe to the videos or other things attached. So if I wanted to, I could copy this again, and I could put that in the teacher notes. So to credit the place where the video is taken from, I can attach that link right here to show where it's, which company or which product I'm borrowing from. For skills, right now there are no skills attached. So when I click on Edit, I have the option of choosing a skill that I might have already entered, which I don't have any kindergarten math skills, so I'm going to click on New Skill. And this window comes up about to fill in this, this box. Some of the things I get from the actual like the Engage New York site, I can click here down at the bottom and it tells me exactly what the skill is. I can just scroll across to copy it, and I can paste that in here to describe it. I'm going to enter other information. I can enter this skill in sort of a general form like I have here, where I've taken the information from the video and from the Eureka Math website to say what it is the students are doing. I could also create a skill that comes from the North Carolina Standard Course of Study. So I have pulled up the Kindergarten Mathematics Standard Course of Study, and this activity that we're doing is going to cover this particular skill. So I might want to put a quick code in that makes sense, and then also copy the information and add that to the description here, and then fill in the rest. So I've just created 3 different skills that I could link to this particular activity. So it's modeling numbers between 4 and 6 in different ways. It's counting forward, not starting at 1. And it also is asking the students to write numerals up to 20. Those skills are linked to this activity now when I hit check. So down at the bottom, instead of saying none, it's going to, if I expand it, show the skills that were linked. Whoops. And when I hit save, that should show up at the bottom. The skills are, here's my teacher notes with a direct link to the video. It shows that there are 3 skills. And so then I could share this to the school libraries. I did not use anything that was not already open to the public, so I could post it on the Seesaw library since I'm a Seesaw ambassador, but most of you might not be able to do that. You could share to the school or district libraries. So I would pick the grade level. I would pick the subject. And then I share to all the libraries at once. You wouldn't have access to all those. You would probably have access to the Burke County District Library and then to the school, the actual school library where you belong. So you click share. If I wanted to at any point, I could remove that activity from there. I can also get a teacher link in order to share this with particular teachers in an email. Now I'm ready to assign this to my students. So I click on assign, and I'm going to assign it to 2 classes just in case. When I click on assign to 2 classes, it comes up and I can view it in the class. There it is. Now, some of the teachers that I've been talking with have not been attaching the student template correctly. So when they click on add response, nothing happens. This will only pull up a student template. Let me go back and edit the activity so I can explain. If you attached your student template up here as part of the directions where it had said multimedia example or lesson, then when you click add response, there's nothing to add. They only get pages to work on if you attach the student template down here where it says student templates, like I did in the video. Now, if I want to, I can hit add response because I have a sample student in this class. And when it comes up, it should create a page or a set of pages for that student to work on. All 11 pages that I created as part of the activity are ready for this student to work on. And if you wanted to, instead of putting this multimedia example or lesson on here that I got from YouTube, you could turn on Loom right now and create a Loom video telling the students how to do the activity and demonstrating for them. If I were to click Loom now, I could just do the work, read the example, take the pens and the pencils and draw and color on the page the way I want it to, save my Loom video, and then attach my Loom video in the teacher directed part where it's the multimedia example. And they would click over here on this link. And instead of opening a YouTube video I borrowed from the other website, they would click on it and they would see me doing the work of this actual lesson itself. So hopefully all of this has been helpful. in creating student activities in Seesaw that have a multimedia lesson or example attached and a student template that the students can work in. If you have any questions, feel free to contact your ITF, or if you need to, you can contact me at csnow@berk.k12.nc.us.